All right. Thank you everyone for coming again. Welcome to Herbs to Nourish Frayed Nerves. And today's class is recorded for people who couldn't make it. Despite our fantastic turnout today, there were a few people who let me know they couldn't make it, and we've been trying to have the classes land on the Blue Hill Co-op YouTube. So just with your questions or comments, just keep that in mind that whatever you share will end up on the Blue Hill Co-op YouTube. So I just want to make sure everyone's fully aware of that in the class setting. But other than that, feel free to, be yourself. Just
tell all your gossip, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome. So nice to see you all. My name is Mo. I use they, them pronouns, and I work as a clinical herbalist and a community educator. And so I teach classes all over New England, and I work one-on-one with clients to support people's bodies. And I work primarily in the gut realm, but I would say every single client I have is also wanting support with stress. Pretty much, yes, that's true. I was going to make it a bigger category, but I think that's just true. We live in a really stressful time, and so in terms of building resilience and the tools that we need in order to be able to do the work that we need to do in this world, it feels really important to work with plants for our resilience. So I'm really glad to be here. And thanks, Torsten and everyone for hosting me. In this class, we're going to talk about how to use herbs to build resilience for stress. And we'll talk a little bit about what are the two main classes of herbs that we use to build resilience. And then talk about how we might choose them and what are the questions we might ask about ourselves and our bodies to know which herbs are right for us and our bodies and what we're looking for. And I will send you, so everyone has a sheet. If you should have a handout, and it's blank. And so if you want to take notes there, you can, and then I'll send you a filled-in handout later. So this is the version to just jot down whatever you want to on, and I'll email you the rest of it later. So no need to take down every single note. And
in keeping with that, we did have some issues with registration today. I know that we kind of had an issue with publicizing the registration link and then with it itself. So on the class feedback form, if you want to get that form, just write your email and we'll make sure we send you both. We'll send you those forms along with whatever else you'd like to write. And also, if somebody could hand me a pen, I'd love that. But I'm just going to pass them around.
I have an email list too that I'll pass around. I can pass around my email list too now. How's that? And then, so this email.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. So yeah, I'll pass around an email list, and that's I send out an email once a month of the classes I'm teaching. And if you just want the handout and don't want the classes each month, just say handout only in the notes section, and I'll just send you the handout. I won't send you anything else. And so please ask questions. This class is for you. And so ask questions, share your experiences. If you taste a tea and you're like, I hate this, I want to know that. So please share. So on your sheet, I have the two main classes of herbs that I think about in terms of basic resiliency building for stress. One is adaptogens and one is nervines. Anyone heard of these words before? Yeah, which one have you heard of? Adaptogens. What have you heard of? Adaptogens, yeah, they're very in these days. Anyone know what that means?
Medicinal mushrooms.
Go where they're needed.
Ooh, Yeah, so medicinal mushrooms, they go where they're needed. Yeah, what else? Yeah, medicinal mushrooms are great adaptogens. Torsten brought this reishi mushroom. Can I pass it around?
Oh, please do.
So this is an adaptogenic mushroom. We'll talk about it again later, but I feel like passing around a mushroom is always, we can do a couple rounds. So adaptogens are herbs that over the long term build our resiliency to stress. So the reason that they're very in these days is because everyone's stressed. And because it really would be nice to over the long term build our resiliency to stress. And honestly, sometimes when things are in and they're everyone's buying them, there's just a marketing gimmick and they're not actually useful. But adaptogens really are, I think, great for many, many bodies. The ones that are being marketed are not necessarily the ones that we need to be utilizing, but that's a separate issue. But instead of having, like, we experience a stressor and we have this like huge reaction to it, instead we have like a much more modulated reaction to it. Yeah, and it's an overtime thing. And these are things that it's not like you take an adaptogen right away and you feel this like profoundly different reaction to stress. It's more of a long-term situation. So like 2 months is a good amount of time to try something and see if it is building your resilience to stress. And that's like every day taking it. So these are like herbs we're like building relationships with. They're not like it's not a one-time, once and done thing. It's like a long-term relationship. And they act in the deepest part of our bodies, and they help our nervous system feel that we can be safe. So it's this deep work that helps us be safe so that we can have the energy and capacity we need to be in the world. And so they're often used for supporting energy, and part of the reason they do that is that they improve our energy production on a cellular level. So they're improving the ways that our cells can make energy, and so that then our whole body as a macrocosm of that has the experience of having more energy. And they support our adrenal glands. And then what you were saying, Kip, about like them going to where they're needed, that makes a lot of sense, because it's like where we have the, especially if we're using the adaptogens that are right for our bodies, it's like they're going where we're needed, because they're going they're wherever there's the imbalance and wherever there's like the deficiency, that's where they go, and that's where they build. And so they build our kind of, I know, truly. Plants are amazing. Mushrooms are amazing. Like, we are so lucky to be in this world, truly. Yeah. They're generally pretty anti-inflammatory. They're antioxidant rich. They have like, they're herbs, and they're herbs also, I'll say that like adaptogens are herbs that you can take for a long time safely. They're not all for all bodies, so they might lead to like an imbalance in your body. If say it's a really dry adaptogen, you've already run pretty dry, it could dry you out too much. But in general, if you're using one that is right for your body, you can take it for a long time. It's very safe. Any questions about adaptogens or thoughts?
How do you know which ones are right for your body?
That is the rest of this class. It's a great question. Yeah, no, it's an amazing question, because that's the question, right? It's like, how do you know? Yeah. So first I want to talk about nervines, and then we'll answer that question of how do you know which ones are right for you. So anyone heard of nervines before? This sounds like staff here are familiar. Great, good to know. No, I'm just kidding. So nervines are herbs that have an immediate effect on our nervous system. So it's immediate and it's noticeable. And I'll just say that. It's immediate and it's noticeable. And they act in different ways. So some of them are aromatic. So if we think about, we're going to drink a tea with lavender in it, lemon balm is the L word I was thinking of. We're going to drink a tea with lemon balm in it, and lemon balm is an aromatic nervine. And so lemon balm, part of the way it works is that it has this aroma. And so when we smell the lemon balm, we were talking about this on Friday in our chemistry class at the library, but so the molecules in lemon balm are very tiny that we're smelling. In order for us to smell something, it has to be tiny because it has to enter our nose. And so these tiny molecules, these volatile oils, they leave the lemon balm as you have your lemon balm tea and you smell it coming at you, it's leaving the tea and entering your nose. And because it's so small, it can cross the blood-brain barrier. It can get anywhere in the body very quickly. And so by crossing the blood-brain barrier, it can have this profound effect on our nervous system very quickly. And so that's why when you smell lemon balm, you have this your body reacts, right? And so that's because those volatile oils are literally interacting with our nervous system. So that's part of how nervines work. The other way they can work is that there's bitter nervines. So in our tea, so if you notice that your herbal coffee right now, it's quite bitter, right? And so what bitter does is bitter acts on our You're totally fine. I'm just gonna wait because don't worry. I'm just gonna pause because otherwise I'll be distracted. Always good to have a little musical interlude, yeah. So bitters act on our digestion. And so when we taste something bitter, our whole digestion starts operating in a regulatory way. So it's like if our digestion's moving too fast, it slows down. If it's moving too slow, it speeds it up. But it allows our body to actually digest our food in the way that it wants to. And so if you think about what's the opposite of fight or flight? Homeostasis, totally. And what's like the word that's often used to describe that kind of like what? Yeah, totally, absolutely, yeah. Peace, totally, yeah. And often like we'll say like rest and digest in terms of what our body's physiologically doing, because when we're at peace and when we have homeostasis, what our body's doing is digesting, and we can't digest if we're stressed. So like some people like their gut just stops moving, right? And then you get constipated. Some people it's like that like immediate flush, right? Either way, you're not digesting your food. And so bitters help us digest, and by helping us digest, they help us get into that rest, that calm, the homeostasis, that peace. So that's part of how they work, is like, it's kind of like a reverse, versus the aromatic ones, they have this like immediate nervous system effect, versus the bitters have this like gut effect that then translates to our nervous system. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. So how do you pick one? Well, first of all, the first thing first I think of what's sustainable, right? A lot of adaptogens are not sustainable, and are not like, are just like, are not sustainably grown, or are over harvested, are endangered. So I just like, right off the bat, I cut those ones out off the list. That's things. I don't cut off ashwagandha, because you can grow ashwagandha here. And so, I don't consider ashwagandha unsustainable. Yeah. Do you?
No, I don't know anything about that. But that was my first adaptogen.
Oh, cool. Great. Amazing. Yeah, ashwagandha. So ashwagandha is in the tomato family, actually. And you can grow it here even as an annual. It's the root that's the part used. You can't grow, like it's better to grow it as a perennial somewhere south. But you certainly can grow it here as an annual, and I don't consider it, anything that you can grow, I don't consider like unsustainable. It's things like maca is a big one I think about, that only grows, it's basically like a very fancy turnip is how I think of it. It's a turnip, but it grows in the Andes, and it's just not sustainable the way that it's harvested, and the way that it's a traditional food source and very important to people in the Andes. And thank you. And so without having with over harvesting, people are losing their traditional food, which is really important. So I think about, that's the first thing I think about, or like ginseng. I never use ginseng. Asian or American ginseng, because it's not sustainable really to use them. So things that you can, but the good thing is there's a million adaptogens that we can grow that are sustainable. So that's like the first kind of cross some things off, and then thinking about what ones to choose. First, I think, what do you need? So I invite you to tune in with your body for a second and think about, what does your body need? Do you need more uplifting? Do you need more energizing? Do you need more relaxing? Do you need sedating? Do you need, which direction does your body need to go? Is it like an upward motion? Is it a downward motion? Is it If anyone wants to share, you could. Or any other words you thought of that have nothing to do with you. Focus, yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my thoughts tend to float, and there's so many at one time that it would be nice to be able to narrow it in to focus on working on.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, that's a great one.
What if you need both?
Yeah, there's ones for that too. Exactly, that's important to say okay, I think I need both, and also time of day is great too. So there's things, can do things to uplift in the morning and relax in the evening is totally doable. Yeah, or seasonal, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to change things over the seasons. It's in the winter, our body, the outside environment is completely different, and what our bodies are, the way our bodies are reacting to that are completely different. So yeah, seasonally it makes total sense. Yeah. Great. So that's like question one I think about. The next question I think about is what part of your body does stress show up in? So some people stress shows up in their gut. It's like immediate stress. They know they're stressed because they're nauseous, or they know they're stressed because they're bloated, or whatever it is, or they know they're stressed because they can't poop for a week. Some people stress is like heart, right? There's like heart palpitations, high blood pressure from stress. Sweating is also like a cardiovascular stress response. Like a really rapid pulse can be a like cardiovascular stress response. Some people it's muscles, like they can have really tight muscles. Sometimes like the back of the neck can be really tight. Some people it's peeing all the time. So that's like there can be like urinary connection. So with thinking about where stress shows up in your body, sometimes it's like headache. That has a lot to do with what herbs you want to work with, because herbs have affinities for different. They do, like as Kip said, they go where they're needed, but they also have affinities for certain body systems. So some herbs are really specific and really want to work on the heart realm, and some herbs want to work on the musculoskeletal realm. And so knowing where in your body stress is showing up can really help you understand what plants to choose. Anyone have an idea of like where things are showing up in their body? The neck. Totally. Yeah, it's a common one. It's like it's a nice stressy place. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I didn't say the lungs. The lungs is a huge one. Yeah, totally. And the lungs from a Chinese medicine perspective are where grief is held too. So sometimes there can be a connection between lungs, stress, and grief can all kind of be tied up together. Not always, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have definitely the muscles, but I think I discount the amount that it hits me in the heart and like the heart rate. I think I've gotten so used to the feeling. It's like one of those things that takes tuning into, when it comes to where it hits you big time.
Yeah, because we all yes, our world has always been, this is a stressful place we live. And depending on what our circumstances are, things can be more or less stressful and how we're experiencing the world and how the world is experiencing us. But yeah, like we get used to it, right? It's like we get used to like, oh yeah, of course my heart rate shoots up whenever I'm stressed. Like that's normal. Like that's just what happens. But it is individual actually, and there are things we can do. So that plants are here for us to support in those realms. And the last question I ask is how do you run energetically? And so we'll talk a little bit more about this one. So if you looked on the back of your handout, or sorry, no, it's still on the front. It's still the front, yeah. So there's some different energetic signs. So people either run more hot or more cold. Some people are kind of neutral. But if you think about it, like some people, it's especially this kind of day is very emblematic, like because it's like sunny but it's still cold. And, like some people are outside in like t-shirt and they're totally fine, and some people are like 4 layers of pants, right? And so some of it we run different in terms of our energetics, and part of it is part of it's just like, yeah, are you cold all the time? Are you hot all the time? Part of it's also like I run hot. Like I'm wearing this, but I could be wearing a t-shirt and be totally fine. And like I'm talking really fast. I know I try really hard to slow down, but that's a hot characteristic is like talking fast. And so it also shows up like physiologically, right? It's not just like do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? What are some what would you imagine stress that's like cold would feel like or show up like versus hot?
Maybe like paralyzed in bed with anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Paralyzed in bed is like a total cold sign. Yeah, especially like depression in bed. Yeah, can be. Or past fight or flight, then when you get to like the freeze, or the collapse response, that's totally cold. Yeah, it's like you've because it's like it looks like heat. You're like going all through all this heat, and you've used up all your heat, and then you get to the cold space that's being totally
like brain fog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brain fog, totally cold. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about hot?
Constantly doing.
Yep. The going. Totally heat sign. Yeah, Stephanie.
I was
Same
constantly-
thing. Yeah, totally. Totally.
Constantly moving.
Yeah. Totally. And so some herbs are run more hot, some herbs run more cold. And so in terms of balance, it's important to know how we run so then we can work with herbs that help balance us out versus herbs that, like, if you run really hot and you just always are using really hot herbs, you're gonna exacerbate the imbalance and you're not actually gonna feel more balanced and more resilient. So it's really important to know where we run and so that we can move in the direction that's right for us. Does that make sense? So I want to talk a little bit about damp and dry.
It's my favorite topic.
Same. Yeah. So how would you know if you ran more damp versus more dry? We talked about this on Friday, which is how you know it's my favorite topic.
Dry skin.
Yeah, dry skin is a very common one. Yes. Yeah. Sweating can be dampness. Sweating can also be dryness, funny, because it usually is dampness, but it can be like losing moisture all the time. Like there's people who just like, or I wouldn't say it's ever dryness, but it can lead to dryness. If you're sweating all the time and like, especially if you're like sweating all the time, peeing all the time, and like nothing is like really like staying in, that can be some dryness.
Or like no flexibility.
Yeah.
Be like dry.
Yeah, no flexibility, like rigid, like, because like we need moisture in order to like lubricate our muscles and our joints especially, and so yeah, totally. Yeah, what about damp?
I'm just thinking, when I'm dehydrated, I get really irritable. And when you say damp, I think that's me just crying and crying and crying.
Yeah. Well, not
Totally.
excellent, but
Yeah, no,
yes. No.
totally. Totally. Yeah, dampness is like this, like, especially like feeling you can't get out of it. I think about water as like, it's like water is resilience in a way, but you can have too much of that. You can have too much of a good thing. So I think of dampness as like too much of a good thing. And because water helps us stay balanced. So we were talking about this on Friday as well. If like a pot, if you have a pot of water and it's full and it's on high heat, and you like it'll take a long time to heat up. And if you have a pot of water that's like that's almost empty, it'll heat up very fast and very slow. And so if people can regulate their temperature really well and like crying all the time is also like having a hard time getting out of it, right? It's like you're stuck in this place, and that's because like the water is just like it's inertia, right? It's hard to like move out of that place versus if someone's dry, they can be hot, cold, anxious, like tense, like all the things all at once, and it's harder to like slow down versus dampness like kind of like slows you down. Yeah, does that make sense? Sort of. Dryness also can look like heat. So a lot of anxiety, like it's people are like when people are anxious, it looks like heat, right? No matter like often it looks like heat. Sometimes it's true heat, which is like when they actually have the energy to be like putting off all of that energy. And sometimes it's actually just dryness and it looks like heat because their kettle is burned down. And so they like have all this energy, but then they're gonna crash later. And that's usually dryness more than heat because it's actually like, it looks like heat because the kettle's dry. And so they heat up really fast, but it's not like the heat that they have resiliency to keep that heat for a long time. So there's something called false heat, and that's often dryness. I will say, I would say at least 80% of my clients run dry.
Do you think that has something to do with the part of the country?
Yes, 100%. Yes. I have colleagues in New Orleans, and I have one colleague in New Orleans, and all of her clients are damp. Yeah, and certainly like in tropical places, people run very damp, and here it's very dry. Cold is very common. Pretty cold and dry is how people generally run. And I'll see some dampness, but usually it's in like one body system. So it'll be like dampness in like the gut, but then like everything else is dry, and it's like things aren't assimilating, and like there's some like stagnation there or something, like something else is going on. So there can be different body systems that have different things going on. But yeah, I will say like dryness is very common, especially in like the perimenopause transition. Dryness is very, very common because estrogen is just like a very juicy hormone, and as estrogen levels shift, people often start to run pretty dry because it is like estrogen is it's a very moist hormone, and so there can be some dryness in that time period. Any other questions or thoughts about damp or dry? Okay. Next we have tense and lax. So, tense. What would tense look like in someone who's anxious or stressed?
I don't want to show you.
What percentage of my clients do you think are tense? A lot. Yeah, sure. I haven't done the math, but yeah, for sure. Yeah. So like Crystal, what you're talking about the like tight, all of that. That's yeah, especially like jaw is a place that tension often shows up. Shoulders, tension shows up. With tension, it's more about like, because everyone's tense, it's more about where's the tension, and then deciphering what herbs are best at like, because some herbs work really well at like smooth muscle tension. Some herbs work really well at skeletal muscle tension. So trying to figure out where the tension is, and then like there's herbs that are really specific for right there, and there's herbs that are specific for different parts, like lung, like holding your breath tension. There's herbs that are specific for that as well. So yeah.
I'm thinking of the correlation between like mental tension and physical. Like if you're thinking of a rubber band, it's really lax. It has a smoother response time, where tension on a tightened rubber band or a dry rubber band might snap quicker. So like thinking that when I think of feeling tense, often like reaction, being quick to being reactionary kind of correlates to that.
Totally. Yeah. So it's like there's you have less room before you're gonna snap. Yeah. Versus like totally. Yeah. Lax, I will say again. I see lax. The people in my like clinical practice who are lax are usually elders or people who have like some kind of diagnosis of like hypermobility or some muscle disorder or something. So I would say it's not not as and not like all elders are lax, but I see it occasionally in elders, and I see it in that population. But tension is like all the time, and laxity is much less frequent, I will say.
So what does lax look like?
Yeah, what would you think?
I mean, I think I see it a lot in, like, I would say in kids, like when you see a little child
Totally.
they fall, but then they bounce back and get right back up. It doesn't really affect them, whereas like where you were saying, if you were really tense and you felt that would really make me upset, and like I might react to it negatively. So like I see that difference there.
Totally, yeah. There's like a hypermobility component to it. In terms of the nervous system, I see it as like that collapse. That collapse is like a laxity thing. Like people who are like completely collapsed, completely dissociated, it's like there's like a laxity in there where you're just like totally like you don't have like the oomph to like move your muscles and go. And like it's like total like can't get out of bed, kind of like total collapse emotionally.
Like no ability to have like emotional discipline or
Totally.
boundaries,
Yeah.
like,
It's like it's like we want to be like like back to like the rubber band analogy, which I really like. It's like we want it like, you know how rubber bands can make noise, and like you want to be like sounding like a nice musical instrument, and too tense it's like and too lax is you can't make any noise. And so that's kind of like the two laxes. People are like and they don't have like the oomph to like make things happen in their lives. Also like urinary incontinence is often a laxity sign. And like organ prolapse is a laxity sign.
That's the perfect example.
Yeah. It's like if the organ just like comes, it's like we need to have tone to keep things in, right? Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions about laxity or tension? Okay. Next we have stagnant and atrophic. So, what would stagnation look like in the body?
Not moving. Things aren't. Yeah.
Yes, things aren't flowing. Yes. I will say it really depends where stagnation is showing up because it can show up in different places in the body. But think about like a swamp and like think about like the muck and like maybe the green slime on top, like things are not moving. So dampness is part of it, but it's dampness that's not flowing. So like dampness can be like a stream flowing through the forest, but stagnation is like a swamp, and that smell, like that is like things are not flowing, is stagnation. So I think about like, often there's like purple and blue showing up in the body. Like I'll see it like in nails, you'll see it. That's if there's like blood stagnation or pain or like bruising that's not clearing. A lot of sleeping can be stagnation, like excess sleeping. Sometimes we'll see like hot core and cold hands. Like people are like, I run hot, but like my core is a burning furnace, but my hands are cold all the time. Like that is stagnation where things are not flowing. And then atrophy. So atrophy is kind of like imagine, like the desert is dry, right? The desert's not atrophy though. Atrophy is like imagine you didn't water one of your house plants for like 3 months, and then you try to water, and the water just like kind of comes over the sides, and it doesn't penetrate. That's atrophy. Is like water can't penetrate. So it's not so much dry. It's like the tissue is just like, it can't absorb moisture anymore. And so that's things like that's like you drink water and you pee it right out, and it just runs right through you. Like dehydration. Often you'll see cracks, like cracked mucous membranes. Like the tongue will be dry, but it'll also have like cracks in it. And that will be a sign of like moisture isn't penetrating. Like often like people are like often because sleep is like a juicy time too. So if people aren't sleeping, they usually run dry, and then that often leads to atrophy because it's like this like I'm so wired but I'm tired, and it's like this insomnia from that. Brittle hair, nails is often atrophy. Yeah. And then excess and deficient. We won't go too much into these, but in general, I just want to say like that they're like people in so hot is more excess, cold is more deficient, damp is more excess, lax is more deficient. Tense is more, damp and dry, tense, lax. Like these are like stagnant is more excess and atrophic is more deficient. And so like there's ways like some people in general, people are all balanced, right? We all have different, like, we move in different directions. Some of us are like hot one place, dry somewhere else, and cold and whatever. We have all our different parts. But some people are in general like overall pretty excess. And some people in general are overall pretty deficient. And so that looks like people who are excess like have like excess resources. So generally run more like hot, damp, tense, stagnant. And people who are deficient generally have less resources. So it's important to think about in general, like if you feel like you're, like people who run excess, we need to like work on moving things and clearing things versus the people who are more deficient, we need to build them up and nourish them. And so like having a sense of which direction you're trying to move is helpful in terms of thinking about what our goals are. Any questions about any of that?
Are these terms on a continuum? Is
Yes.
one at one end and one is at the other?
Exactly. Yeah, great question.
And are there other descriptors along the way that I'm trying to think of symptoms that might not be at one extreme or the other, but might show in which way I'm headed, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, it's a good question. Is there one continuum you're thinking of, like one of the different axes?
No, not in particular. Well, you know, I sort of jumped to, and you know, the word stagnant for me in a swamp.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a swamp as being stagnant. I see a swamp as having lots going on.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's I'm getting caught up in the word and in the language and.
Totally. Yeah, I hear that. If you have more of a continuum. Yeah, well, I guess I would start with like the hot, cold, damp, dry, because I think that will give you a basis before you get into like, because stagnant and atrophic I think are a little bit, stagnant is often like dampness to an extreme, and atrophic is often dryness to an extreme. So if you start by thinking about like damp and dry, that might give a better sense, and then moving into the stagnant atrophic. That's not like exclusively true, but I think that is like a more easy to understand like dichotomy. And so some people just are neutral. Like not everyone is damp or dry. And like some people are really damp, some people are really dry, and some people are like, so it's kind of about how like, and it also can be like you were saying about the seasons, like Barbara was saying, right? You were saying about the seasons, right? About the like, so like if you're, like in the winter, most people are dry, but in the summer, people can run more damp. Like it can vary seasonally, and that's not a bad thing to be moving with the seasons, right? But some people are dry the whole year round, and then you might want to work on like lubrication. And so if you're balanced, that's a good thing. So if you're like, I'm not sure, I think I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of this axes, then there's herbs that are more in the middle and more balanced, and those are wonderful ones to work with. But if you're like, oh, I definitely am cold all the time, you might want to think about some more warming herbs, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions? That's a really good question. Cool. Anyone have any ideas of where they might run on this spectrum?
I'm definitely dry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cold, totally, yeah.
I think I'm more hot
Yeah,
than cold.
yeah, totally, yeah. Cool.
Well, I think I'm going through a transition. So I used to be like hot and like always moving, like she'll tell you. And now I'm like, and like atrophic, and like my body's changing, and I'm just like, who am I now? Like this is not the me I used to be.
I will also say I think it has a lot to do. I know you talked about seasons. I would also say they're life seasons. We have to, and where you physically are, we moved from Arizona.
Oh.
And when you're in a big city and everything's moving around you and you're going, and then you come to a rural space like this, yeah, it's easier to kind of slow down. Also, my youngest sister is out of the house now. All the birds have left the nest. So she used to be very like, we need to fill our time and everything needs to be done and we need to make sure the house is clean and it's in order. And now that everybody else is gone and there's no standard and no one has to go to school and there's no events, it's a little bit easier to let some of that go.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just us. Nobody's coming over, so it's all good.
It's so great.
You just highlighted so many great parts of like the environmental like constitution. It's so much more than just just literally the season.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we don't like we exist in ecosystems, and we exist and like both like the Arizona versus Maine, and also like the ecosystems of our lives and of our communities and what's in our situations. Yeah, totally, yeah.
This terrible dichotomy. Like, I want to be in both places at the same time. Like, and I'm like forever missing wherever I'm not.
Totally. Yeah, well, maybe you can work with some herbs that have some Arizona in them right now, and then when you're in Arizona, work with some Maine herbs. Yeah, totally. Yeah, cool. Anyone else want to share? Great. Who's ready for our next tea? Yeah? Are people's cups empty? Do you want a new cup, or are you happy with your cup? Okay. Where is the tea? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I left it. Oh yeah, if one of you is able to pour, that would be amazing. Thank you. So the next tea is, we have an infusion of tulsi, what do we put? Skullcap, tulsi, lemon balm, and rose. I haven't tasted it yet, so we'll see.
I need new cups.
Okay. I'm going to taste a little. That's okay. Before I... Oh, wow, it's really... Is it? Okay, good.
Just making sure. This tulsi was very dark, so it made
Whoa, it's really dark, yeah.
Very dark.
It's really strong.
So it's Rama tulsi, and it made, just made a very dark but darker than I would expect. So that's
It's good. I would add honey again.
it got a little cool, but that's okay.
Oh, it's really strong. Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And would you just add more hot water to it?
Yeah, I would do that. That's what I would do. Yeah.
I can also do that.
Okay. If that's possible, maybe, yeah.
I also think for some reason that one was.
Oh, okay, great, cool. Okay, well, if that one, yeah, great. Cool, thank you. Sorry.
We could get that.
Yeah. I could have had a different ratios next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to add that more hot water to the pot? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Crystal.
Oh yeah, so this was Tulsi, skullcap, rose, and lemon balm. Thank you. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So which do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about adaptogens first or nervines first? What do you want? Adaptogens? Okay, great, Talia, thank you. I love an opinionated participant. So the first I just want to start with is milky oats, which is technically not considered an adaptogen. Sorry, no, can I, sorry, am I still in your way?
That's okay.
Milky oats is actually considered like a tropho-restorative, I think, or a neurotropho-restorative is what it's called. But importantly speaking, it does over time build our resilience to stress. And that's the important thing. So we're gonna drink some milky oats in a little bit. I have some milky oats in our fun French press that Torsten brought. Thank you so much, Crystal, I really appreciate it. So milky oats are oats. Does the co-op sell milky oats?
We at the moment don't.
Okay.
Except we sell tincture of.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Well, so I guess we do. We sell 2 tinctures, local and a national, of the milky oats, but
Cool.
just not in bulk.
Cool. Well, they're really easy to grow. So it's just oats. So anyone know what family oats are in? They're grass. So they're grass. They're in the grain family. They're grass. And so they look like a grass. And then once they are mature, they have a seed head. And right before they're fully mature, the seed head is immature, and if you squeeze it, it squirts out milk. It's really fun to grow. And that stage of oat is food for our nerves. It's food for our nervous system. And so I love it for people who are just exhausted. I use it a lot. I'll bring it to protests and just squirt it in people's mouths at protests. I especially think of milky oats for like organizers who are burnt out and exhausted. And people who are who have to live in like an unjust world and are exhausted from that. I mean, that's all of us, right? But like when that's especially true, I think oats they help, like, they're really great when people are dry. And they are wonderful for helping us like juice ourselves up so that we remember like what mellow feels like. They also support nerve repair and they help build vitality. So when people have like nerve damage, I'll think of oats for that as well. And they're very safe unless people are allergic to them. I use them for like babies, elders. I don't use them for babies actually because babies don't really need them. But I would use them for babies if babies needed more resilience. But luckily that's the point of being a baby, is you can.
If the oats are mature, they don't have the same properties.
They
have to be immature.
They have to be immature. So that milk, once it dries, it doesn't have the same properties. It does, although it's interesting because if you harvest it and then it dries, it does have the same properties. But it's not if you wait and it and let it dry and let it become like oatmeal. It has other properties, but it's not the same. Yeah. Cool. The next one I want to talk about is eleuthero. So eleuthero, anyone know the plant eleuthero? I love eleuthero. That one is here at the co-op, right? In the bulk or no?
Not in
or
the
it was,
bulk, but
okay.
also in the
Great.
wellness department in tincture, capsule,
Great.
etc. Yeah. But any
Yes.
of these that we don't carry in bulk are available for a special order
Oh,
if
cool.
you get 4 ounces or so.
Oh,
So
great.
if you're, we have special orders available.
Oh, cool. Great.
With any of those. So.
Cool. Well, 4 ounces is a very reasonable amount to get.
Especially with Eleuthero.
Yeah.
It's heavy, so.
Yeah. So Eleuthero rocks. Yes.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask real quick, who would you contact, like the
Webcart. Yeah. We can talk about that after the class. Yeah.
So yeah, Eleuthero is Eleutherococcus senticosus is the scientific name. You don't need to know that. But it is in the ginseng family. And sometimes it's called Siberian ginseng, which is really a misnomer because it's not ginseng, and people then think it is ginseng and then get confused. And I've seen resources where it says like Eleuther is contraindicated with this, but it's like actually it's ginseng. So the study is it gets confusing. So make sure you know what herb you're using. But Eleuthero it's similar to ginseng in the sense it's related, but it's actually huge compared to ginseng. It's this like enormous plant, and you can grow it. So whereas ginseng grows in the forest and it's hard to it's very hard to grow. Eleuthero is very easy to grow, and the root's the part that we use, and it's pretty neutral energetically. So that's why I like it. It's not super hot, super cold, super damp or dry. It's pretty neutral, but it builds energy. So there's some adaptogens that are really zippy, like rhodiola is just like a very zippy adaptogen. I don't use that very often because I don't think people need that much zippiness most of the time. And also it's not sustainable long term and it's very drying. But Eleuthero builds energy, but in a way that I think is more resilient and that helps promote energy over the long term. So that was in our decoction. We had some Eleuthero. And you weren't tasting it much, I will say. Like most of the taste was the reishi. Eleuthero is pretty neutral tasting. So it's great. You can add it to coffee and you wouldn't really notice it. You can add it to a lot of things and not really notice it so much, and so it's a nice one to add in. I've used it for people who are trying to wean off of coffee. It's a nice substitute. A little bit of Eleuthero in the morning. Some people after 4 p.m. if they drink it inhibits sleep, but that's not very common. But I do have some clients where that's the case. So if you're very sensitive to caffeine, maybe don't drink it in the evening. But I love it also for it doesn't have caffeine in it, but it's just stimulating. So it's more just if you are someone who is very sensitive to stimulants in general, I would stay away from it in the evening. But I love it for people who are people who have really really stressful and exhausting jobs and are tired all the time, and then have that post lunch slump that time of day. Having a little Eleuthero, I'll make it you can powder it and then put it in peanut butter balls and have it as a little snack after lunch, and that really helps people get through the day without the second cup of coffee that then keeps them up all night. So that can be really nice.
What do you use for the powder?
You can buy the powder.
Is it a leaf or
it's the root. So it's the root. Yeah, the root's the part used, and you can buy the powder, and then I'll mix it with peanut butter and tahini and chocolate chips and whatever else. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It also potentiates antibiotics. So there's some research that taking Eleuthero along with antibiotics can help make the antibiotics work more effectively, and it stimulates the immune system both acutely and long term. And so I use it actually a lot with Lyme disease. When people are taking antibiotics for Lyme disease, I'll add 1 gram of Eleuthero per day along with to help potentiate the effects and to also help support the immune system. So I love Eleuthero. I think that just over time builds energy and helps with people who are just exhausted and also overworked and going all the time. So yeah, any questions about Eleuthero?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you feel like there's a big difference between doses people take?
Oh yeah, you don't need that much. People take way too much Eleuthero. 1 to 3 grams, totally fine. And so putting a gram of powder in your yogurt in the morning or whatever, that's great. What does a gram look like? Not very much. It's very small, a tiny little amount of powder, maybe a half a teaspoon or something would be would be 3 grams or something. It's very little. Yeah.
You'll find some studies using huge amounts of Eleuthero, but they were like, you know, trying to like use tons of it, and I always feel like I'll get people saying like they want to take an amount that comes from a scientific study where they're trying to make people like work crazy hard, and it's like, okay, we only need to work so hard.
Yeah, there's certainly some research of like trying to like how far can you go, how far can you push these herbs, and that is like theoretically possible, but I just find it works really well at that 1 to 3 gram dose, so I rarely use more than that unless someone really needs it, but even so, I would just use other things.
And like in a liquid form, a gram looks like this, like, or like 2 of those. Or
yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, in a tincture, you'll see it'll say like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 or whatever it says, and so a gram will be whatever that number is. So if the tincture is a 1 to 2, then 2 droppers will be a gram. But in a tincture also, it's like alcohol is a really great extractor, and so you can actually use less in a tincture, and it's still as effective. So yeah. And then reishi is our next one. So reishi we'll pass it around again. This is the reishi mushroom.
Is it just dried, or did you like?
So this
shiny?
I didn't. Oh yeah, it is shiny like that naturally. The genus is Ganoderma, that means shiny skin. So yeah, it's just dried. It looked like that when it was growing. So, but it wasn't. I didn't pick it. Yeah.
Wait, can I pull it back? Can I take it back for a second? It grows here.
Yeah, on dead hemlock trees.
Yeah. And one thing to look at is it's a polypore, and so if you look at the pores, you can see that it's polypores, or they don't have like gills or anything. It has many, many pores. So just look at the underside as well. So in our decoction we have reishi extract. So reishi is the mushroom, right? And so the way that we extract it is important. And you need to boil it in water for quite a long time to extract it. Like an hour is not unreasonable, especially like powder extracts faster, but the whole mushroom, or like if you're cutting it in chunks, an hour is totally a reasonable amount of time to boil it, to extract it. It's quite bitter, so that's why it's kind of like a coffee substitute. It tastes kind of bitter, so I like it for that. And again, bitter has that effect on our nervous system, right? So.
Does it, when you add the honey, so that you're not tasting the bitter as much, does it still have the same impact?
It's a great question. It does, yes. Okay. So so if you have if the bitter's in there, even though the honey is making it sweeter, you're still tasting the bitter, and your bitter taste receptors are still acting on. They're still reacting to the same bitter flavor. You're also having the honey and the sweetness, which has, so it's also like increasing your blood sugar based on the honey's having the sugar's having its own effect, but the bitter is still having the same effect. Yeah, totally. Great question. So we had to boil it for a long time. You will see, and that's what we used today, was reishi extract. So that is reishi that's already been boiled, and then it's been extracted into a powder. And so that you can just like add to your smoothie or like add to your yogurt. You don't need to boil it at all. But it's important to know which you have, because if you just have reishi powder, like if you just take the mushroom and powder it, that's not extracted at all, and you don't want to just drink that without boiling it. You have to look at, like, if you're buying reishi powder online, make sure you know if it's extracted or not extracted, because it's really different, and it'll be way more expensive if it's extracted. So you should know what you're getting.
And in the store, I don't think we carry any that are just reishi powder. All the powders we would have are reishi extract.
Great.
Yeah, and then I think we just have like slices for a special order, but otherwise what we carry in the store is all extracts. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So reishi has a more mild adaptogenic effect. So in terms of like that effect of like helping over the long term support our resilience and help our stress response not be so fluctuating. I love it especially for the immune system. So if you're stressed and your stress shows up in your immune system and you're always sick when you're stressed, reishi is really wonderful especially when people are sick all the time, and then also have the hypersensitivity. So what happens when your immune system goes too much?
Allergies.
Yeah, allergy is huge. and autoimmune conditions. So reishi is really wonderful for allergies and autoimmune conditions, especially when people are also have that deficient immunity. So people who kind of have that like I don't know, like I'm allergic to like everything, but also I'm sick all the time. That is a reishi perfect person. A lot of inflammation. Why are you laughing?
How do you know me?
Now I'm not sick, but I still have a lot of allergies. But I'm
Totally.
Not sick
Yeah. Okay,
so
great.
My immune system is strong. But
Yeah.
I still have some allergies.
Totally. Yeah. And so I like, so the one thing I'll say about reishi is it's pretty drying. So it can be pretty drying, and so I don't use it all the time. For people who run, so it's like people who have allergies and it's like that like copious mucus kind of allergies, like they're just drippy all the time, that's a total reishi person. Versus people who have allergies and like stuck and like they can't breathe, less reishi. Or maybe reishi plus let's add something really moistening to balance it out. Yeah, any thoughts on reishi? Any questions about reishi?
Anything moisturizing particularly that you would recommend?
Shatavari, yeah, totally. Or I mean, marshmallow's nice. If you're doing like reishi extract powder, say like in your yogurt, I would add like even putting some chia seeds in there could moisten that up. Or flax seeds. Yeah. Yeah, we can skip to shatavari, which is like a really, so I put cardamom in there. We'll talk about cardamom in a second, but shatavari is not in our, I didn't use it in our, any of our preparations today. Today's, yes, thank you. But I wanted to talk about it because I think it's really important for people who run really dry. And we live in, we're in New England, right? We're in Maine. We gotta have, this like juicy, lubricating. Arizona too. We gotta have wherever we are. So shatavari is this like very juicy adaptogen. It is like deeply. It's a root. It's actually asparagus. It's an asparagus root. It's not the same asparagus we eat, but it is like in the same genus. And it will help nourish and lubricate our whole body, but especially the pelvic organs. So I use it a lot for when people are running really dry, especially in the pelvic area. But also it's nice to just add, it's a nice adaptogen to add along with, say, if someone like has all these allergies, but they also run dry, shatavari can be added along with reishi, and it really balances it out. I love shatavari. Again, it's a really, like 1 to 3 grams is a pretty good dose for all of the adaptogens, really.
And shatavari is affordable compared to a lot of other, like for, like 100 grams, it could be like $13 or something like that. And it's like, so it's one of my favorites for like a lot of people that I'm working with who they're like, I need to work with a good amount of herb every day, but I only have so much per month, like compared to like ashwagandha, which also is dry, but
yeah,
I find it can be more accessible for people sometimes. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And powder works well. So like unlike reishi where you have to extract it first and then get the extracted powder, shatavari you can just powder it and use the powder in milk. If someone's really dry, I will say that powder is not as effective as like boiling the root for some time. Like it's just like sometimes people are really deficient. They need to boil the root and get it, like drink the water that way versus just eating the powder. But it's very cooling and moistening. It also stimulates prolactin, and it possibly has some estrogenic effects. I use it for people of all bodies. I work with a lot of transgender clients, and I've used it for trans men, trans women. I don't find that it's like, if someone is like wanting more testosterone in their body, I don't find that it is like too estrogenic, but I do feel like it can be supportive for estrogen. Like we only have animal research in terms of how it affects estrogen, but I do find that it can be supportive for people in that realm energetically, but I don't feel like it will like push people too far one direction or the other if that's not what they're wanting. Yeah. So I didn't put it in our decoction because we didn't have any. So that's why. And then the other one I want to talk about I didn't write on the sheet, but I'm feeling compelled is ashwagandha. Because I didn't put it in the decoction because really you just don't want too many. Like it's good to be specific with what you're doing, right? And like, I think there's like a tendency, and you'll see this in a lot of products, where it's just like they have eleuthero, ashwagandha, reishi, rhodiola, like, and it's just all together, and it's just not. I don't think it's very specific. Yeah, it's like, what's the goal, and what are you actually feeling? And so, ashwagandha is, I would say, like, it's like a warmer version of shatavari. Like, ashwagandha is pretty warming. Shatavari is much more cooling. So again, it's like, it's in the tomato family. It's basically like a very fancy potato. We have fancy asparagus, fancy potato, fancy turnip. So bye, thank you. No, you're good. Yeah, of course.
Fancy oat.
Fancy oat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of our. So it's basically fancy potato, and it's great for people who are really like it's much more calming. So it's not energizing. Like eleuthero is much more energizing. Ashwagandha is much more calming. I love it before bed, especially with like a little bit of cardamom and milk. Really nice. Can help people sleep, and then also promotes energy the next day. So it's nice. It has this kind of dual effect where it's calming, but also like then promotes energy later. So yeah, ashwagandha is another great choice. And again, no need to boil it. It's really the mushrooms that need to be boiled. So ashwagandha, you can just use the powder. Powder and milk is a great preparation. It's fat soluble, so you need to put it in some kind of fat. And water won't really get you the same benefit. And also like you want to, ideally if you're putting it in powder and milk, you want to drink the whole thing. Like you don't want to you want to get all the sludge, because that's part of. It's very iron rich. It's great for people who are like really really deficient, because it just builds people up. If people are have like hyperthyroid, I would not use it, but like hypothyroid, really wonderful for, because it helps stimulate the thyroid. So yeah, any people who are like really like too thin and want to be like building energy, that building mass, it can support with that, but I wouldn't say it does it for people who don't want that. Yeah, any questions about those? Yeah, Crystal.
Yeah, there's something I missed about shatavari, that some biochemical or something.
Oh, prolactin. It stimulates prolactin. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah. And then cardamom. So I put cardamom because it tastes delicious. And because it just like makes a tea more wonderful. But I also, and I think that's important. I do think that's like really important actually. And I always put something that makes the tea more wonderful in with it, especially with like a bitter like decoction like that. And it also promotes circulation. So helping, like adaptogens are like, they're often rooty and they're kind of like, they're solid, they sit there. We need to move them. And so having something that helps it move and get where it needs to go is really important to add to the formula. And so that's why I said like ashwagandha in the evening with some cardamom in it, or like with some cinnamon or rose or something to help move it, because we want to get the herbs where they want to go, right? We need to have our, like the way we absorb things, right, is like we have our small intestine, we have all the surface area, right? We have this like tons of surface area, we have all these villi, microvilli, and then we have like a little capillary running on the other side of it, right? And so if there's no blood flow, we can't absorb anything. And so by promoting blood flow, then we can help our absorption assimilation. And so cardamom is that's why I put that in there. And it's great, especially like for people who, like, I love cardamom for just like weird dysregulated digestion, like just like weird, unsure what's going on digestion. Cardamom is really wonderful for that. And it's very warming and very dry. So people who run cold and damp, cardamom is great for. And digestion, like a lot of like milk is like cold and damp. And so like a lot of our like there are a lot of foods can be cold and damp. And so cardamom helps assimilate our foods, like beans, right? Yeah.
Or if you just feel like shatavari is like the herb for you, but you run cold, it's like we can always formulate and like be like, oh, I love the idea of shatavari because I'm so dry, but I don't want to be cold, so shatavari cardamom or something like that,
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
That's an example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would, like, those are like, they have the kind of opposite energetics and they balance each other out, which is great. So if people run kind of neutral, it's great to bring balance of different herbs.
You mentioned cinnamon, and I know they're related. Does it have a similar effect, or is it just really a flavor effect?
Cinnamon is also, these aromatic herbs promote blood flow, especially warming ones. And part of that is just like literal kinetic energy. Like these warming herbs, they bring energy into us, and energy equals flow, and so the blood is flowing. But yeah, cinnamon promotes blood flow, certainly. It's pretty, I would say I use it similar to cardamom in the blood flow realm. I don't use it as much for the gut. I use it more for blood sugar regulation, just circulation in general, like circulation to the peripheries I use cinnamon a lot for. Those are the main places that I use it. Okay, ready for some nervines? Okay, so our tea again, we have skullcap.
And we do have some more that
Oh,
if
great.
anyone hasn't gotten tea from
Or wants more tea.
Or wants more, we can pass this
I want more
around.
tea. Thank you.
That's the skull cap.
It's the same one, yeah, as the other.
Oh, it is.
But yeah, you can have it again though.
This blend's been keeping me going lately, let me just tell you that. Can I pass this over? I trust you, Kip. You've touched this teapot before.
Now I feel a lot of pressure too. Thank you.
No, it's, I only trust you. That's not what I meant.
So this tea is skullcap, tulsi, lemon balm, and rose. And skullcap is the bitter in there. And it's I think I did 3 parts. Yeah, I did 3 parts tulsi, 3 parts lemon balm, and 1 part skullcap, 1 part rose. Because skullcap is kind of strong and it's pretty bitter. But it's amazing for our nervous system. And it really, I love skullcap so much. It really helps, it is very sedative to the muscles. So any kind of it's like there's a long history of use in epilepsy, which and in seizures, which we wouldn't use herbs for seizures because we have medication that is much better. But historically, that's how it's been used, and it is really wonderful for any twitching, tremors, any kind of restlessness, restless leg. Wonderful for. It's specific for stress that's showing up in the skeletal muscles. So not so much the smooth muscles, but the skeletal muscles. Anyone know the difference between smooth and skeletal? Smooth is what lines our blood vessels, lines our gut. It's involuntary, and skeletal are most primarily voluntary muscles that are on our skeleton. What do you say? Exactly, arms, legs, exactly. Yeah.
So would it be good for cramping, muscle cramping?
Yes. Absolutely. GI cramping, I wouldn't use it necessarily for.
I'm talking
but
more
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I, for example, at night tend to get cramps in my sort of Charlie horses.
Yeah, that's what it's specific for. Absolutely. Yeah. Any kind of cramping in skeletal muscles, skullcap is amazing for.
How does it happen?
What?
What's the imbalance that makes that happen?
The
cramping.
I don't know. Anyone know the answer to that of part of it? I know part of it is can be magnesium deficiency. Yeah. It's different people, but so
Those 2 are sodium.
potassium too. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some of us, we have an imbalance of tension. I mean, some of us are just also more prone to tension all over the place. But I know that the calves specifically, in Chinese medicine, they refer to them as the second heart. So if you are really prone to tension, up here, it could hit your calves as well. What were you gonna say, Mo?
Oh no, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, about potassium. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then in terms of yeah, totally, all of those things. And then for panic attacks, I work with skullcap, a pretty big dose, because it's an acute situation. But it can be really calming and grounding. It has this deep downward energy, and so if people are in that, that's a teaspoon of tincture at a time. Can be a nice dose for a panic attack. And it contains GABA, which, anyone know what GABA is? It's a relaxing neurotransmitter. Does it cross the blood-brain barrier? We don't really know, but it does contain that.
What is it?
GABA, GABA. Yeah, it's a relaxing neurotransmitter. And like, yeah, there's pharmaceuticals that also act on GABA, and there's herbs that act on GABA. Yeah, that's how I mostly use skullcap. Any questions about skullcap?
So how would you use it always in this kind of, or could you use it just as a tincture?
Tincture is nice because it's bitter. So I wanted to make the tea for you all because we're making teas today, and so I wanted to make sure you could try some. But I primarily use it as a tincture just because like bitter is not the most delicious flavor in tea all the time.
Boom, done.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like skullcap, so it's pretty cooling and drying, I'll say. So having it along with something warming and that promotes circulation is really nice. Yeah. Like Tulsi. So skullcap is just like deep downward energy. It's like it just brings you like into your body, out of the head into the body, and like relaxes muscles. Tulsi is this like upward energy. Have folks heard of Tulsi before? So yeah, exactly. So Tulsi is in the mint family. It's a basil. Sometimes called holy basil. And there's many different strands of Tulsi. This one is the Rama, right? And Tulsi is wonderful for modulating blood sugar. That's like a huge way I work with it. It also is both an adaptogen and a nervine, which is really special. And so it works on the nervous system over the long term, helping regulate our response to stress, and then it also has an immediate effect on our nervous system. And I would say it's like, some people find it stimulating, some people find it relaxing. There's a few people who are like, I can't drink Tulsi in the evening because it makes me too stimulated. That's very rare. I generally think of it as like pretty uplifting and calming is how I think of it. It's like it has this uplifting energy, but it's still calming. And it's dry, it's warm. It's like, what's nice also about it too is it's a leaf, like we use the aerial parts. So most adaptogens we use the root. Tulsi, it's pretty easy to grow. You can grow it inside even and like bring it out in the summer and bring it back in the winter depending on the variety. And there's a variety that grows very easily here as well. And so it's very sustainable to harvest. Yeah. So I think of Tulsi also for like focus. I think of Tulsi. And it's a powerful anti-inflammatory, powerful antioxidant. So if people have like, especially in the cardiovascular system, any kind of like cardiovascular, people who are holding stress in their cardiovascular system, I think of Tulsi for that as well. Yeah. Any questions about that or thoughts on Tulsi? Yeah.
Well, I do. So specifically for Tulsi and the lemon balm, I've heard it's not good for hypothyroid.
Okay, great question. I haven't heard that about Tulsi. I've heard that about lemon balm. I have not heard that about Tulsi, so I'm not. I'll speak to lemon balm first, and then we can talk about Tulsi. Lemon balm, that's a good question. So Tara was saying that they've heard that it's not good for hypothyroidism, and there is some old research on that. It's from like the 80s or something, and it was done in animals, I think like rats or something, some kind of rodent. And as far as I know, it has not been proven to be true in humans. And I work with it in people with hypothyroidism. My teachers who I've learned from work with it in people with hypothyroidism. Many of my colleagues do as well.
Teachers as well.
Yeah, it's pretty common to be used in hypothyroidism actually, because if you think about the energetics of it, it's actually more the opposite. And so from what we understand, it seems like that research is like not really, it's like a one study from the 80s in rodents. So I don't worry about it personally. Of course, for people's, with your own body, do what feels good for you, but it's something that I'm like concerned about. It kind of has like the opposite energetics to that, so I would actually, in some ways, think it's indicated in hypothyroidism.
Good, because I actually love it.
Yeah, totally.
I see that all the time.
When I said, nope, better not do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and with all things, trust your body, right? And with thyroid in general, like we can get that tested, right? And so if you can try it, and if you have access to medical care and have access to being able to get it tested, then you can work with these things, right, and try things out, and feel a little bit more like freedom in that realm. Totally, yeah. Yeah. Any other questions about either of those? We'll talk about lemon balm. I know we haven't gotten there yet.
So again, Tulsi, going back, so you could do it with skullcap as a tea, or just again as a tincture?
Yeah, Tulsi is it's a nice tea. It is interesting. So like the Tulsi that's grown around here a lot, it's sometimes called temperate Tulsi. It's sometimes called Kapoor Tulsi, which my understanding is that's a complete misnomer and was made up by some white dude. Tulsi came from, or is native to India, Sri Lanka, like East Africa, and it, yeah, and so there's different varieties, and they're quite different. And so there's a whole world of Tulsi that we can get into, of like knowing the different varieties and what the indications of them are.
And more on that, if you want to go on our YouTube in the Nourishing the Heart class, there's about half an hour on Tulsi specifically and the different varieties.
Cool.
So,
Sweet.
That's just on the Blue Hill Co-op YouTube under the Heart class.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, because the varieties are quite different, I would say. And like some are like a really good tea, and so I'd be like, don't make tincture because it's just so delicious that you're gonna like not want to drink it. And some of them some of them don't dry very well, and so the tincture is actually great because it preserves the medicine that you can't get from drying it. So the varieties vary, but also just pay attention like to if you're tasting a variety and you're drinking a tea and you're like, this tastes like nothing, or I don't like the taste, or it's bitter, or whatever, like just then try a tincture, like try something else and find something that you really like, because you trust your own taste buds, because if it tastes like nothing, there's nothing in there. And Tulsi, there's oftentimes Tulsi varieties where you'll taste it and there's nothing in there. So it's just because it's old, or it's how it was dried or transported or whatever. Yeah. So great question. Lemon balm. Lemon balm is so gentle. So lemon balm is unnerving. It's not an adaptogen. I think of it as like it's very gentle. It's great for kids, great for elders. It's calming, but it's also uplifting. Similar to Tulsi in that way. There's a school that I work with occasionally. It's like an elementary school, and the kids there, they make Tulsi and mint tea every day. And these kids are off the walls. And this is like, and they were just like, this is the tea that we thought would be good for our classroom. I was like, yes, this is the tea for your classroom, because it's really, really good for like focus. For people who are like, for kiddos, like it's gentle enough that like I use it for people who need a more gentle plant often. But it's also great for focus in elders. So like cognitive decline, it's very anti-inflammatory, and especially the like restlessness that comes with cognitive decline. Like if people are like have Alzheimer's, there's some good research on like Alzheimer's and the like grumpiness that comes along with that, and how it's like it helps it makes the heart merry. It like has this like gentle, like this like sweetening, warming. It's a happy herb, and so for people who especially because it can be really distressing to be not knowing what's going on and to be confused, and so it can be really supportive in that. Also for the caretakers, both of you, good, because that's also can be distressing. And Tulsi works in a lot of systems in the body. Lemon balm. The heart, I use it a lot for. The gut, the immune system, it's active against herpes virus, so I use it sometimes for herpes, and the pelvic organs as well. So it works in a lot of different systems. It's just a really wonderful, again, it's gentle. It's not like the skullcap is a push, right? Skullcap is like people need to calm down right now. Lemon balm is like a gentle, uplifting,
Like a little calm, but not too much.
Exactly, yeah. And then rose, unless you hate rose, I just put rose in like every tea, man. Just a little bit. Like too much is too much. Like rose, you don't want to drink perfume, right? No one wants that. So a little bit of rose in your tea, I think goes a really long way. And I think of it as like very euphoriant. It supports our mucous membranes, and all of our membranes. So it supports our membranes, like our physical membranes. Oops, that's not good. Uh-oh, my microphone. Okay, there we go. So it supports our physical membranes. It's astringent, so it helps like keep. That's why it's a nice like toner. Like people will use like rose water as like a facial toner. It also supports our emotional membrane, so it helps us know when we need to like close off a little and keep our membranes strong, and when we need to open up a little bit and like let things out, because we don't want to be too rigid, right? We want to be permeable, but also we don't want to be too weepy, open. Lax, exactly. Yeah. So it has like it balances a tense lax, keeps our rubber band strong. Yeah. And it's just a sweet little magic to add to little formulas. So I often will put like 10% of the formula rose. It's a nice way. It supports the heart, great for grief. Yeah, I love rose. It's just a way to. It's also like to care for someone's heart is such a sweet thing to do. And so putting a little bit of rose in a formula can really go a long way. Okay, I think we're actually, we're at.
An hour and a half went fast.
That did go fast. I guess I just want to say, so I'm happy to hang out and answer any questions people have. I know we went through those herbs kind of quickly. I'll send you a handout. I'll email you the handout with more information. And I'm curious, if you have a sense of where, what herbs might be based on where the questions before of what do you need? What's the energetic way that you run, and what part of your body stress shows up in? If you have a sense of what herbs might be good to work with. So we don't have time to talk about that, but just think on that question. I work one-on-one with clients. I do that virtually and in person, but not here. So virtually. We try to uncover what's at the root of what's going on with you in your body, and work with herbs to support. And it's sliding scale. And what else? Oh, and then we're doing another class in a month here. And I teach kind of all over. And if you have a place you want me to teach in, if you live in Belfast or whatever, and you want me to teach there, let me know, because I'm happy to go other places.
What's the next class on?
The next class is on adaptogens in particular. So this is this is going to be a more in-depth. We're going to go into each adaptogen much more in-depth. This is more of an overview, and this is more more in-depth. So this is all about adaptogens in exactly a month from today, March 15th, 1:30.
Handout, do you have the recipes for the teas, what you're supposed to do? How would you get that?
The recipes for these teas, I don't feel like they were that good. I can give you the recipes, but
No, I meant for the ones you use, some of these.
How many parts to parts?
I can do parts. Yeah, I can tell you what parts I use. Yeah, for sure.
To make this tea for this, how much do you use?
Totally. Yeah, I will.
I can't remember what you used.
I'll tell you what I did, but I feel like it was too strong.
No, I mean,
so.
the things you would use, Tulsi and lemon balm, together, how much would you use of each kind? Is there a place that I can find that somewhere? Is there a book or a reference book that you?
Okay, the book that I recommend is coming out in April, and I'm so excited about it. I can send you all. I have other book recs that I can send you, but the book that I really recommend is coming out in April, and it's going to be amazing. It's called Herbal Pharmacy, Pharmacy, and it's I've only seen I saw a little bit of the copy that you get before. And it's so good, and it's a really amazing medicine making book, because there aren't any books of how to make herbal medicine that are that good right now. There's a lot of books about how to use different herbs or whatever, but in terms of making the how.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to put in.
So it's called
Dr. Nicole.
No, it's Betsy Bancroft,
Betsy Bancroft.
and it is called Herbal Pharmacy, Pharmacy, and it's Betzy. Betsy with a Z, Bancroft, and it's gonna come out very soon, and I'm gonna buy it immediately, and I can't wait. And we're gonna use it as our textbook. I teach a 9-month program as well in Boston. It's once a month apprenticeship, and that'll be our textbook this year. So
And then there's a certain amount of teas on the Loyal Co-op blog as well. Yeah, so like on the article that I published with the Nourishing the Heart class, there's 2 recipes. Yeah, and then there's like a teas for wintertime. So if you check out the Co-op blog and go through the different articles, there's a number of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can also I'll put some recipes in the notes. Yeah, for
Thank
sure,
you, Mo.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. This is
Betsy with a Z, Betzy. Yeah, yeah, totally.
doesn't even need
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for coming. Happy to chat as before you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, this is great.
Thank you.
For nourishing us as well.
Yeah, and drink more tea. Oh, and we didn't even have time to drink the oats, but we have.
We had them. You had them ready.
I know you already had them. So we have milky oats. There's one that was blended. The oats were blended first. One that oats were not blended first, and that you can taste test the difference on your way out if you want. Cool. I'm gonna take this